Evan Giddings in for Matt's Time. That's with Daryl the Guru Johnson.
JD.
This is the crossover.
Yeah.
Mark Willard, John Dickinson. What's up, boys?
I'm in that mood today, man. I'm
It's
so
a
excited
beautiful
for
day.
you. I'm so excited for you.
Oh, thanks.
I'm so happy for you. It's number one on my bucket list. I've never been. So you gotta let me know everything when you get back from
I'm try and document it all.
from Italy, man.
I told him be like you on
Italia.
IG though. Put all the scenery on the
yes.
IG. Yeah.
Oh yes. Don't
A
be shy.
picture's worth 1,000 words.
I got to get my
shy.
Willard on when I'm on vacation. That's
right.
Hop
Yeah.
on IG.
Hop
There you go.
on
Pics
IG.
on there.
That's right. Make everybody feel terrible about their life. That's what social media is for.
No, it's the
What is social
scenery.
media? I'm kidding.
Wow.
I'm kidding, right? Somebody should, we should all have 2 social media accounts.
Yes.
And one of them
This is great.
right, like I'm on vacation, and then the other one is the 87% of life where you're just like, I have a headache.
Okay.
Today sucks. I'm exhausted.
Yeah.
And everybody's annoying me.
I love
And we
it.
should just have pictures of that too. But
Honestly,
anyway.
I mean, the only plan I got is basically just eat my way through the country as much as I can. Every single city that I'm
Amen.
in.
This is a big trip
Eat
for
as
you.
many meals as possible. Come back severely overweight.
Yeah,
that is the goal.
what is the goal? Because if you don't gain weight,
Plus 12.
you did it wrong.
Look at JD.
I went to Mexico. I didn't gain anything.
Oh, see, good job.
So
that
that's
is
'cause we were
excellent.
at a resort and those meals are expensive,
Okay.
brother.
You
So
got a
I was
little
just
room.
like,
But you had some
to
good
work
food.
with.
oh yeah, we did
Okay.
great. We did great. But I cooked some.
Yeah,
Like we had a
look at
kitchen.
you.
I'm like, we're gonna go to
It's a good way to not gain.
yeah. There you go.
Look
Keep
at
telling myself
JD,
it's bulking
Slim
season. That's
Jim
about it.
over
Yeah.
But Italy, that's a different animal.
Oh, a lot of carbs.
I need
Lot of
5.
carbs.
Yeah.
I need 5+ pounds
Plus
from you.
5?
I need 5+.
Well,
What's up,
gentlemen,
John?
the thing with Italy, their pasta is not like American pasta. There's not a lot of preservatives to
Right.
it, so you can actually eat their pasta every single day and not really gain any weight. So
And
good luck.
So I just got to eat more,
Yeah,
twice
but-
as much.
But get a lot
Tommy
of sauce
Lasorda.
on it, though, right?
Yeah.
The sauce.
Yeah.
Come on, man. It's always about the sauce.
Need that.
Get some Alfredo in there. You'll be fine.
Can I go Westbrook on
Do whatever-
YouTube?
yeah,
Because I've been with we've been Niner centric.
Now, what
but
does
I got,
that mean? Are you going
Hog
to be
the
ball
mic or-
dominant?
Yeah,
or-
that's what I kind of. I'm gonna take 2
yeah.
shots.
Okay. I didn't know if you were going to like run through a wall or something
I'm gonna
like
switch
that.
it up one and
Okay.
then round robin. But I'm gonna put the Niners to a side. Where the hell has the Giants offense gone? I do understand they're not the 27 Yankees, but they were hitting the ball. I used the word magical at one juncture this season because anybody in that lineup, JD, could go yard. My question is, I know guys are out. Where has the offense gone?
They're they're saving it for the. I mean, they still hit a lot of home runs late in games that help them win. I mean but not as much as
Something is off.
Well, I would say
velocity's a problem.
we could answer your question in one of 2 ways. There's a mysterious answer and a non-mysterious answer. And I thought Dave Fleming this morning had the mysterious answer, which is just like it's a damn head scratcher to the point where they're, as you said, it's never been a great hitting team. But there are individuals who are reliable hitters who right now are
All at the
they're
same
lost.
time.
They're just all lost,
right.
and it's been an extended thing. And I don't know how to answer that. The other side to it, though, is a little bit of a bigger picture. I saw this on Twitter last night, and it kind of triggered me a little bit. So Barry Bonds, at the age of 42, in 2007, hit 28 home runs.
42. Okay.
Yeah.
San Francisco Giants, since then, which now spans 16 years, have had a total of one other person hit 28 home runs. And it was Brandon Belt when he hit 29 2 years ago in the 107 win year. Nobody has hit 30
Oh, that's
since
a
Barry
floor.
Bonds.
Wow.
And I just started, and I think this is, you hear fans go, whose jersey am I going to buy? Let's put it a different way, because the Rays come in and rake, and there's
Without their best player.
yeah, and there's no jersey buyer there, quite frankly, either. I know that you've heard of some, and Franco and a Rosarena, but like whatever. They're not Shohei. I would say it more this way. Where's the electric bat? Now, they won 3 World Series sort of without that. So I don't think it's like this necessity.
All right. I
But-
see where you're going, though, man.
Yeah, man, like the Braves are going to come in we're going to see them twice over the next week and a half. And they're going to have 7 electric bats. And the Giants haven't had one for 16 years.
Wow.
And it's just frustrating, man.
And
It's
I
like
know what you mean by electric.
an
we know, guys.
electric
what-
bat.
Electric.
Like I'm scared
A
to
threat.
throw a
Yeah.
fastball.
Wow, man.
to this guy.
That's just it. Nobody's scared to throw a fastball to
And,
any of the Giants hitters. Here's my best fastball.
Oh, my God.
They're excited to throw it. They're going to
First and
swing and
third,
miss
no
at it.
outs.
Have at-
Here
have
it
at
comes.
it.
It's like the Giants have a rule in the clubhouse. If somebody gets to third base,
What's going?
then the next three guys have got to go strike out. It's incredible.
And part of that is they're trying to do damage up and down. Like they're not trying to adjust and just get the
They're
runner
not trying
in.
to walk.
They're not trying to hit singles with runners on second and third. They're trying to go yard, which is why they're feast or famine.
Wow,
in
man.
that. But here's the thing: they have no carriers.
Yeah.
There's no carriers. There's nobody that's just get on my back for 2 months. Now they have a couple of guys that out of nowhere, when you forget about them, can do it for a couple of weeks.
Right.
But like they don't like every one of their guys is just kind of an average mid player that sometimes plays up, sometimes plays down. Like it just there's no. I mean, Wilmer Flores has been great for stretches. He ain't a carrier. Tyro Estrada, he ain't a carrier.
Right.
Yaz, he ain't a carrier. Like
No, none of them are.
Like, none of
There's
them are.
some good hitters, but there's nobody who's
Wow.
Jock is not a carrier.
No.
You can't be a carrier if you're platoon.
Wow,
platoon
man.
player.
Yeah, if you're facing lefties, you're in trouble. But I think Patrick Bailey's probably the closest guy for me that I want to see hit, like every at-bat. But to your point, there's nobody in that lineup, including Patrick Bailey, that anyone has to pitch backwards to. Like in the postseason,
Man.
with a guy on base, you're trying to get someone out. Okay, so we were just talking about Mookie Betts before during the break, and it was for something completely different. But Mookie Betts is not seeing a first pitch fastball with a guy on base in the postseason.
You're so right.
The Giants, meanwhile, you can pitch to however you'd like, and every single scouting report that an opposing team has is going to be applied batter by batter by batter. And if it works, it works, and if it not, then you just tip your cap. But like that's the issue for me. And kind of to your point, JD, there's nobody that I'm going to be afraid of on the mound, or that Tyler Glasnow last night is looking at and saying,
Just,
I can't throw
man.
97 past this guy.
It's just weird too. Like there was some advanced analytics on last night's game that suggested the expected batting average.
They did hit a lot of balls hard
for
last
both
night.
teams was exactly the same, and the Rays ended up with 18 hits, and the Giants ended up with 2 runs.
The Rays did hit a lot of ground balls.
No, they
They
did.
did.
Yeah.
They did. And the
Until they
Giants
got the lead, and then they started.
and,
It is
and the
everywhere
Giants,
that they
the
weren't.
Giants had some
Yeah,
thunderous outs.
Yeah.
There's no doubt. But at a certain point, you go, all right, what the hell's going on there? Because I've reached this point that I hate about myself, which is the bases will get loaded with the Giants.
Dude, this
And
is
I
where
wish
it
y'all
gets
could see
bad.
my face. I watch the game now like this.
No doubt, and you should.
Right?
First and third,
So,
no outs.
My dinner table has a couple seats you can't see the TV, and everybody's sitting around the table, right? Lovely Christy comes over. We're all sitting there having some food last night, and the boys are on the one end where they can see the TV, and they're like, "Hey, Dad, the base is loaded. Base is loaded." I didn't even get up. I just looked at him, and I'm like, "Nope."
And you've been more right
and
than
then they go, oh, it was caught on the warning track. And it's like that.
Keuchel wants it so
when's
bad.
the last
Yeah.
time somebody drove a heater to Triples Alley? Like a heater.
You know what you've done for me? Just that stat was just incredible, JD. I didn't know if you knew that before, but what you've done is I feel like, Mark, you're getting a round of applause now for a gym full of Shaskies that were saying you need that star, because you just opened that wound now of not getting judged for whatever reason. If we could all sit here and say he was never coming, but that's what this is about. Where's that bopper at? Because something's off, and I feel like as a unit, they're just holding on, JD. Like, I'm scared now they're not even going to make it. I feel like it's infected them now, that it's in their heads that we're not just – what happened where what you just said? Okay, Conforto can get hot maybe for a week. JD Davis, just throw something outside. He'll swing.
They're just average players.
God.
The Giants are built on a bunch of average players with high floors, which is why they're not a terrible team. And I think, and again, maybe there's a number that dispels this, and Mark, you may have it, but I think I think the Giants are a 500 team that has hit some home runs late in games at a disproportionate for the rest of their talent, and they've won some games.
Wow, man.
Maybe
I'm not saying they shouldn't have won, but
I feel like this. We do this a lot, right? Like, what's the
Sunday
outlier?
was that.
I feel like this year
they've
is
done that like
Yeah.
I don't know.
But I feel like this year of the
7 or 8
last,
times
of
the
the
last 2
last
months?
3, I feel like this year is the most accurate portrayal of who they are.
Wow, man.
I feel like 107 wins is obviously a little juiced.
Okay.
And last year, where they had to scramble to get to 500 at the end, I
And
thought
this is
was
a
kind of
mix,
the
huh?
opposite.
I think they were worse than 500 last year.
Well, maybe. And obviously, the year before that, they were excessively better. I feel like this is a pretty accurate portrayal of who they are. And they're in a super dog day period. And I'm the type that's like, okay, I'm interested to see if you can get out of this, because I don't know, I've listened to enough baseball people to know that what ends up winning baseball games is not the stuff, like, we want to be entertained.
Right.
But Shohei Ohtani's never been to the playoffs. So,
Yeah.
like, his presence does not mean you get to go to the playoffs. They do a lot of things that help you get to the playoffs. The one good thing about the team this year is the bullpen.
Yeah.
And the bullpen is what
Can't
sends
deny
teams.
it.
That's what sends teams to playoffs.
And-
so I'm
yeah.
not giving up on anything yet, but my God, this is a long period of just strikeout every single time there's a big at bat. Somebody is there to whiff. It's frustrating.
And look,
man.
I think
It's frustrating.
I think they're still going to make it.
Yeah,
Believe it or not.
but it's not because of them.
Yeah.
Like when I look
Well,
at
what's
the
it because of?
because of
What's
the Marlins,
behind
the
them?
Cubs, and the Reds.
Yeah.
Like they got to
Are 2 of those 3 teams going to beat them out? I don't think so.
like I don't know if those 2 of
But
those
if
3
you
teams
keep
are
hitting
better
like
than
this,
them.
Jay, the answer's going to be yes.
Yeah, but they're also built. Like, here's the other thing. I mentioned high floor players. Yeah, they're built on 6th, 7th, 8th inning against teams that don't have great relievers. When they, their mid
gonna get
hitters beat a lot of those weaker pitchers, and so it's going to come back around where they're going to get some matchups, and they're going to win some games in the 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th innings, and I think that's going to be enough to sway it to where they'll get in.
Hope so. I mean,
Yeah.
they do not have any days off. These teams that are coming in for
No.
the next few weeks.
But it's crazy. It could be worse. Like,
Oh, of course
no,
it
that,
could.
no, that
Of
you are
course
right.
it could. You be the Mets.
Imagine Bailey's
Well,
home
I
on
mean,
Sunday.
Like they could,
Like-
literally for them right now, it could be worse. Like their 2 wins in the last 2 weeks.
Oh, yeah.
Are Patrick Bailey
Yeah.
goes yard, and they
No
have that
doubt.
freakish 9th inning in Anaheim.
Yeah. You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM and HD1 San Francisco, always live on the free Odyssey app, Twitch, and YouTube, powered by First NorCal Credit Union. And it's not going to get any easier. Like, you got the Rays,
Nope.
then you get the
Braves.
Braves, then you get the
Phillies.
Phillies, then you get the
Who can
Braves.
be
Braves.
down 3 or 4 runs and just, it's nothing. Let's go get them, fellas.
Braves
How
are-
I used to think the Giants
Well,
were.
the Giants again. Look at the Giants are among the leaders in comeback wins and
Yep.
from down multiple runs. Like they still do that stuff, which is again that's part of the reason why they're.
And Kuiper,
Play-
I can hear it in his
play-
voice, man. He's
Oh,
just
gosh, so those-
everyone to the track
Oh,
is like, he wants like. It's
He's-
like,
That's
no.
the thing. He's
bad.
going into his home run call on
Yeah,
warning track
so
balls
bad.
now.
Like, oh,
Because he's just
yeah.
like, please?
He's swearing on him,
Please?
It
man.
was
I
kind of
mean-
funny when Bethencourt went yard. He kind
Yo.
of had a little uptick and was like, "Oh wait, actually, sorry, I got it. That's not us. I just haven't seen a home run in a while." That's
I
no doubter.
got to admit something that I was so embarrassed by in the moment, which
Uh-oh.
was I was at the game on Sunday.
I text you.
Yeah, I mean a balk and a stolen base infield ground ball, and they're about to lose, and the mood in the building in the bottom of the 10th. When it was a runner, it was not just a runner at second, it was Flores.
Okay.
So I'm like, somebody's
Triple.
gonna have to hit the ball in a triples alley for this guy to score. And the first 2 guys go pop up strikeout. And I'm sitting there going, I was about to burst. And Bailey is facing a 1-1 count, and you can feel the whole crowd is just
Oh, my
like,
gosh.
we're devastated. We are and he hit the ball, and it comes off the bat, and you're like, at minimum, this is a double off the wall if it's fair, which that'll score Flores. So I'm like, we got a tie game. But then the thing sneaks over that chevron corner.
Kuiper
Yeah.
didn't even know what
Right.
happened.
I was surprised. I thought it was going to be a double off the wall.
Yeah.
And when it went over the fence, I almost fainted. I screamed. I turned to my little guy and screamed so loud that I went into a dizzy spell. And
bet.
my hug of him was partially to hug him and partially to not fall over. And I'm like, why was that such an emotional release when that ball went over the
Because it
fence?
wasn't an option, Jay.
'Cause
I
we're
thought
so
the double,
frustrated.
but not a homer. Just,
Oh.
It was a release because you considered the alternative, which was they were about to get swept
Oh, my God.
by Bruce Bochy.
And the best closer in baseball, blocking a run in. Like there was fluke stuff that Texas got.
Cap's bringing
Kapler,
people out there with him and
Kapler-
getting booed.
Kapler took Webb out.
Right.
I mean, all of those
Webb
things.
left to the Wyndham clubhouse. Like, I'm tired.
I mean, that's the kind of loss that might have broken him.
Man, oh, man.
Especially as I text a bunch of my Giants fan buddies were bitching and complaining about last night, right? And I said, well,
You should have lost.
How would it have looked if they lost yesterday?
doubt
How would
about
tonight look?
Turn the volume down.
Playoff odds right now, 65%.
Yeah, and I get that.
That's
just
still
what
in the
Evan
moment.
said.
65?
65.
I mean, I believe in the Giants more than I believe in Miami or Cincinnati.
But that Cubs offense, who is behind them, I believe they got some traction to where if the Giants don't get this right and JD, it stays where it's at. That's going to cost you.
They both can get in.
Like, you could go lose all these games to Atlanta the way your offense is playing.
But the thing is that they just have to not, honestly, and it's just like the Texas series, they just have to not get swept. Like, they just have to not lose both of the next two.
They can literally not into the playoffs.
They can
the beauty of baseball.
Win one of the next two, win one in Atlanta. Maybe you win 2 out of 3, either against Philly or Atlanta. When Atlanta comes here, like, you can do all that, get to September and play better and make it.
So here's what I'd do. It's time.
Oh,
Kyle Harrison needs to start tomorrow.
Why would everybody else is coming up here?
It is absolutely time.
You got to lose.
Farhan Zaidi said just a couple of weeks ago he's not. Yeah, there's just still plenty to lose. This is important now. But he already said that Kyle was not that far off. Kyle went out in his last outing and dealt like crazy. I don't know how stretched out he is, so I don't know if he can go 6 innings. He might only be able to go 4. But to the point that I was just making, if you really talk about an electric athlete, I think since Barry Bonds left, there's really only one Giant in this entire 15 years that fits the description, and it's Tim Lincecum.
Man,
like an electric athlete.
Man.
And I'm tired already from the Rangers series to the Rays to knowing what's coming with the Braves. I'm tired of watching a parade of electric athletes on the field against the San Francisco Giants. They've got one. Kyle Harrison is an electric athlete. He might get shelled.
Okay.
But he needs to start tomorrow's game. You do not have the Rays come in here and go opener.
What do you think's holding it up?
Nothing.
You can take Alex Wood's spot.
Dude,
he didn't want to be here.
Oh, my God.
Did y'all catch what he said?
I caught
He said it, and it got swept under the weekend rug. He said that he was dying to get traded before the deadline.
Yeah. And he also said it. And I also think
he said it, and everybody missed it.
I think he was daring him to cut. I think he was saying, "Cut me now."
Do you believe that? Like
cut
give
me
back.
now.
Boy,
DFA.
But you know what's funny?
You got roster
you
spots to
fried
fill.
the egg
DFA
on that
me.
head.
But you know what's you know what's wild?
hot.
What's wild is because the fan base, so many of the fans are upset with the perception of Gabe Kapler and Farhan Zaidi that Alex Wood is becoming he's becoming the trumpet, the spokesman. And I'm like, Alex Wood last year was given 26 starts, and they were his only 26 appearances. And he stunk to high heaven.
No doubt, man.
So the fact that this guy is your spokesman is you
really got nerve basically out, but he's doing it.
Like Alex, you'd be starting if you were good at it.
No doubt about it.
How about that?
No doubt about it.
You'd be starting if you were good at it.
Isn't that though in some ways the reality of their free agent signings? Like Alex Wood's been here 3 years. Basically every guy that's been here for 3 years has been pretty good for one.
You could Sclafani.
Kind
of right.
okay. Yeah, they're in terrible. And I'm not saying 1, 2, 3 in that order,
except
but
for Gosman.
Oh God, I think about him all the time.
And there's some exceptions I think either way, but it's like because they're kind of playing the lottery a little bit.
Right.
Yeah. What was Stripling's deal? I forget. Was Stripling? Did he? This is his first year, but
I think him and Mania got the same deal.
So it was
1-1.
It's a 1+1.
So
they're going to opt-in.
So they're going to opt in.
Oh my gosh.
So Stripling will probably be good next year.
Yeah.
Well, wow.
Well, he's actually been pretty good.
Pretty good the last couple
He's
years.
been pretty good for the last 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Conforto, after he opts in, he'll probably be pretty good next year.
And this is why I call myself, because this is a great combo. This is why I call myself.
That's when Lamont falls off.
But Lamont,
Everybody comes back down.
But Lamont
It's
plays
just
60 games.
Conforto is right.
That's who he is.
Conforto is right making a par right now.
Dude,
does he opt in or does he opt out?
I think he opts in.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. He's going to end up with over 20 homers.
I think he opts in.
No doubt.
Yeah, I don't know if he's getting that kind
I don't know. That
money
could
he
still,
wants.
That could still go
This is
either
why
way.
I call myself Westbrook, because I had this second thing. I know we're up against it, but I got to get your guys'
We're not
thoughts.
up against anything.
No.
We've been throwing this around. As much as I've called come down Kyle's road and recognize his brilliance, I understand right now that if you want to say Trey Lance, it doesn't look great, and I've been one of them throwing eggs at the pick. How the hell can you not give Kyle credit for Brock Purdy? We have people actually picking up the phone, calling the show, saying they looked into that. That's not how this works. The players don't pick where they come. If I don't care if you're the last pick, the Niners said, Brock Purdy, you're coming here. If this dude bubbles, they get the credit. Kyle gets the credit for having the wherewithal to know, I see something in the kid, forget the Mr. Irrelevant, and if he bubbles, you get that credit. I'm hearing people texting me, social, no, you looked into, no, that's not how this works. Okay, you got Trey wrong, but if Purdy is the guy, ding, ding, you get the bucket counts. What am I missing?
Nothing.
That's haterade if you don't give him the credit.
You can't have it both ways.
You can't have it both ways.
You can't be mad at Solomon Thomas and Reuben Foster and then blow off Kittle and Warner. You don't get to do that. So
there it is.
I mean, what the Niners need, what we all need for our mental health is the season to start. Because
and Purdy ball out and continue to.
But I just mean this will all get baked into whether they're winning or losing.
All right.
If they win, they get credit. If they lose, then everyone gets to be mad. That's how professional sports works. What's fascinating to me in this conversation about Brock Purdy, and it's something I know JD and I are going to talk about a lot about today. The simple question I'd love to ask is, where did the excitement for what Purdy did last year go? Because everyone is so focused on life is unfair for Trey Lance that we've ended up in a spot where, because of either his draft position, because of your excitement for Trey Lance.
What about the injury, though?
The injury?
Okay.
Sure, all of it. You can bake it all into a point where somehow Brock Purdy came in, did Disney movie stuff.
And it's forgotten.
And then each month of the offseason, we've gotten ourselves further along in this conversation of, well, Brock's not really that good. Brock, really, you're really gonna give that guy the job? And I'm so fascinated by how so many fans worked themselves to that. How did you do that? How did you lose the view of what? Because the rest of those things we just mentioned are all speculative things.
Because Vegas hasn't.
There's only one thing in this whole conversation that's not speculative, which is that Brock Purdy was damn awesome last year, and a fan base somehow lost their juice for that because of all of these extraneous speculative things.
Yeah.
That's what I don't get.
I mean, I think it's just because of the nickname next to his Football Reference profile. It's Mr. Irrelevant. Like, if he was a first-round pick and did the same things he did last year, I think people would be inclined to believe he's for real. But for some reason, we don't. And it has to do with the situation, the draft status, everything that he did to kind of, I don't want to say finagle his way in, but basically fortune his way into the starting job. And then he took full control of it. Like, to me, Brock Purdy made the best of last season, and I'm not discounting what he did, but I do think it's fair to question whether or not he's going to continue to do that.
That's fine. I'm not asking for belief. I'm pointing to the loss of excitement.
Maybe the injury, Willard.
You know what? Does it change anybody's thought when you hear these reports that Fred Warner, like that story?
That's incredible.
About him walking
I almost
behind.
want to say it's a lie because it's so incredible.
and for people who don't know what we're referring to, Fred Warner was saying to Trent Williams,
no doubt,
in August of last year, in August of last year, walking off the practice field saying, I can't wait to see Brock Purdy play. I can't wait to see what he did.
Brock now,
so those guys saw something.
My goodness.
2 injuries before it was reality.
I still think there's something lost in translation, whether it was the competition. Like, I still think there's a lot of fans that just didn't grasp the fact, like, when they heard competition all offseason, they thought competition between Trey and Brock, and it even though it never really was. And so I think
They're holding that against him?
Now it's like, well, it's just his job. Why is it just his job?
He went undefeated and won 2 playoff games.
Again, I'm playing devil's advocate here, but I also think there's some of, hey, wait a minute. Well, if Brock Purdy could look this good, he was the 3. Why can't why can't the kid that you picked 3 and
I had that in my holster,
for,
JD.
Why can't you make him?
But I admitted
I
was wrong. I had that in my holster.
Or if he can, or if Brock can look the way Brock did, why can't Trey look?
Mark, I had that in my holster, and I said it. I can admit I was wrong. That ain't it. If you think that's what's going on, then you're in denial.
Well, I do think some people think that.
Well, there's a lot of people.
I think that was a lot of the national media last year was, not just for
Kyle,
Brock Purdy, too.
If you're a guru.
But also applied to Jimmy Garoppolo because the overall sentiment about Jimmy is he's good enough to get you beat. So if you can do that with Jimmy.
They won.
Yeah.
Well, no, they did. And it's unfair, but that's just kind of the surrounding, I think, lasting image of Garoppolo.
They were good. That's what you can say. They were good.
If Shanahan's the quarterback genius and it's all his system, well, why can't the number 3 pick?
Well, it was going to be. We were going to see until he got hurt, Jay.
So this is what I find
all
fascinating.
Yeah, he got hurt.
But a lot of people,
but he also hasn't looked that way when he's had his chances.
I skew this way. When an athlete becomes a professional, I skew toward it's on the athlete to show us who's good and who's not. Right. But a lot of people will scream about a team, quote unquote, developing the player. Now, that is a thing, obviously. You want good teachers.
But you got to bring something to the table.
But this crosses all of our teams, from James Wiseman to Trey Lance to the young kids who are coming up for the Giants. I feel like people will scream at the team for a player not showing himself. And I'll go, well, wait a minute. How can you say that James Wiseman is the Warriors' fault if they developed Jordan Poole? How can Trey Lance be the Niners' fault if Brock Purdy looks the way he does? For me, the athlete has got to show himself. This is pro sports. This isn't high school. This isn't college. So if the athlete is not playing well, the number one place to look is the athlete.
And that's what I've done with Trey Lance. And I was the last one to get there, holding on to the rock in year 3 and 6. That ain't on them. That's on you, son.
So do we all think it's over? Like, do we think the competition is over?
I
haven't seen.
I think they know that Darnold's the number 2. I think they know that.
Like, do we all think right now that Darnold's going to be the 2 and Trey's going to be either the 3 or off the roster?
Depth chart still has the word "or" next to Darnold and Lance.
I got
Of course it does.
Yeah, that's almost a favor. But I think Sam Darnold is number 2.
Yeah.
I think I would predict something. I would predict that it is going to be that way, but I would not call it over. I would not call it over.
So this game, let's just say Lance balled out.
Yeah,
you think that could sway it? I'm rooting for the kid.
Y'all want today's practice stats? It just came out.
Do you got them?
Who wants them? Y'all ready?
Lance is still the most accurate quarterback in camp.
Here, what we got?
All right. Brock Purdy, who took almost all of the QB1 reps today, went 15 of 19.
Oh.
He did throw a pick 6 to Hufanga. Okay. And Matty Barrows puts this out because this is fun. He goes, he threw 1 pick 6 and wait for it, 1 completion that should have been picked off by Diamador Lenore, deflected off of his hands and into Deebo Samuel.
Did it become a touchdown?
Here we go.
No.
Here we go.
As for the rest of the QBs, Darnold, this is all I've got at this point. Darnold 5 of 6, Lance 3 of 6. That's what we got today.
So they let him run the ball like everyone wanted on Sunday, right?
There you go.
Okay.
That's amazing.
No, I still think there is room for Trey Lance to change our minds about whether he deserves to be the backup or the third string quarterback. But I mean, I think you put it well yesterday, JD. Like, it's advantage Darnold. Unless Trey Lance does something in the next 2 preseason games that make you say that the last couple of big throws that he made in his first preseason performance are the norm, that he has progressed to the point where you'd feel comfortable throwing him into a game if Brock Purdy got hurt, much in the way he did and spelled Jimmy Garoppolo, then I don't see any reason that Trey Lance shouldn't be the third string quarterback, because Sam Darnold looks like more of a guy that's not going to allow the floor to fall out of a football game.
No, nobody wants to have this conversation yet, but I think that the 49ers is whether or not Trey should even be QB3.
So what does that look like if he's
fire me up?
Mike?
I used to get mad and want to radio wrestle you because of that, but no, it's trending toward. I know if Steiny's listening. He's like, "How good you finally come."
You're answering two different questions. The politics of and the history of Trey Lance would suggest, yes, you keep Trey Lance, but I firmly believe. Here's what I would say. I don't know about a month from now. If you threw Kyle Shanahan in a dark room and said, Brock is hurt and Sam is hurt.
I am so
and
hurt.
You've got a game tomorrow morning. Yeah. Do you want Brandon Allen or Trey Lance to play it? I have no doubt in my mind that right now he would be more comfortable with Brandon Allen starting that game.
Wow, JD?
I'd keep Trey Lance.
All right.
So would I.
But it's not about politics or anything else. It's like from what I've seen, they aren't winning squat with Brandon Allen.
Okay.
Like like couple regular. To me, if you keep Trey Lance, I'm not giving up on Trey Lance for Brandon Allen.
All right.
Now that being said, right now to me he's the 3.
Okay.
But if it gets to that point, and I've said this, and I'm going to stick to this.
Purdy was the 3 last year.
I would let it play out with Brock, and if Darnold's the 2, he's the 2, and if something happens to both of them and Trey's got to play in the middle of the season, then you know what? Let Trey go out there and play with Christian McCaffrey and Debo, and that's going to be his opportunity once and for all to see how it would look.
I don't disagree with that.
And if you don't win, then at least you're trying to develop the kid. I mean, at that point, you're trying to develop the kid for you or for somebody else, which is doing right by him in that instance.
No reps for Allen today. Excused for personal reasons. Is he having a baby? Is he having a baby? Is that right?
I'm not sure.
I'll look that up.
The only reason I asked you how it looked is because the only avenue I see of Trey Lance not being on this team is if they traded him. But I don't really see what you can get back at this point for Trey Lance. Yeah. And if the report was a 5th-round pick like a month ago or 2 months ago, has that gotten any better? I don't think so. So, I mean, almost by default to me, he's got to be your 3rd-string quarterback.
Don't give up yet.
I'm not giving up on him.
I can respect
what
that.
I don't want to happen if I'm the Niners, and I'm just going to be real, I don't want Brandon Allen looking like Nick Mullins and C.J. Beathard for the back end of a season, while Trey Lance maybe is actually playing in Atlanta or somewhere else. Like, forget that. No. If it gets to that point, then everybody's going to understand if Trey struggles, and then you're going to know once and for all. Like, if he has to play this year and he can't do it, well, then you move on.
Trey Lance is going to be on an NFL roster if he's not with the 49ers.
For sure.
Now, I don't know if he could start for every single team, but
I'm rooting for
there's
him.
There's no
man.
team that wouldn't want that potential.
Yeah. Now I got something. My last thing to bring to the table. So I've expressed my. I'm going basketball here.
Westbrook?
I've expressed my my misreading and my disappointment in the Warriors culture and what I thought was going on. JD, Willard, and Evan in regard to the culture, and they can fix the punch and all the stuff we find out that was going on after the fact. But I'm being selfish here. I couldn't believe Bob walked away. And I vividly still have the memories of that dual press conference with Joe Lacob. And when a guy says he wants to spend more time with his family, and I take him at his word, but I sent the congratulations text to our guy Bob. But when I found out, not only is he going to do the countdown with Stephen A. and Malika, he's going to be doing games. And I go back to that presser to where Bob looked tired. I'm not going to say it bothered me, but I'm shocked as hell, JD, because I thought that's really like there was no other new jobs you were going to take on. I guess in a strange world, can I ask you too, not as a bad look for the Warriors, do you think they're shocked at all that Bob is taking this job this quick after saying night-night to the Warriors?
Not at all. I think he was always going to take a job, not a GM job, but I think he was always going to take some kind of a TV job, some kind of an analyst job.
Now, was that after he started doing his own podcast? Like, did you see it? Did I miss?
I just think he's good at it. I think he's got, I mean, the things.
He was good at his other job, too.
The things that he was good at his other job. There's a lot less pressure of this job. You aren't getting texts at 3 in the morning from the owner every single day doing that other job.
I'm just shocked, guys.
Like, he just wanted to change.
Wow.
Like, I was all over this a year ago. Like, he's going to leave, and it's because he's just kind of done. Like, it's not
tired.
It's not about anything.
Yeah. All right.
Everybody thinks the Warriors. Oh, the Warriors. Everything's so great.
Everything's
right?
perfect.
Everything's
That's what I've
perfect.
been
Why
talking
would you
to me.
want to leave? Well,
They're talking to me.
I mean, if you watched that press conference, you saw. If you
And
watched their season last year, you saw.
Oh, stop it, Jay.
I struggle to say this in a way that doesn't sound offensive,
Right?
Because you guys know there's nobody who's more
Warriors on ours.
nobody's
baby, yeah.
more dedicated to family in this world than I am. But people do not leave their job at age 48 to quote spend more time with their family.
Okay.
But he also will get to spend a lot more time with his family.
He'll be away too.
He will, but
Like,
he
you can
also
still do another job and spend a lot more time with your family.
I guess my point is, as a general manager, and yes, Lacob is demanding and round the clock and all those things, but the girls' soccer games don't get played at 7:30 on Tuesday night. If Bob wanted to be at his game at 8 a.m. Saturday morning for his daughter, he could have been there as the general manager of the Warriors.
No doubt.
So just when you hear that, quote unquote, person is retiring to spend more time with their family.
And that
there's
pressure
another
spoke
reason.
a lot of volumes,
There's
right?
another reason.
Okay. All right. It did.
It was just
yeah,
odd.
no doubt about it.
And I think everybody's different, Evan. It's like I think people. He'd won 4 titles. He helped put this dynasty together. Like I think fans want to do it again and again and again and again and again. But when you actually are doing it, it's like, you know what? I want to do something else in my life.
And
like,
because of that mentality, like it also wasn't going to get any easier. Like his job was going to be significantly harder for however long he chose to do it for, in a place that he'd already, to your point, JD, had accomplished everything there is to accomplish.
And maybe there were some differences of opinion on draft this player, play that play.
Yeah, the guy who just dropped 60 points at a Pro-Am.
Yeah. Now, Jay,
Kuminga,
I know you're looking
good.
at me. Can I just tell the Twitterverse?
Of course he did.
It's not even like, oh, goo, that's up here. I didn't like that. Not
I
that
didn't
you
like it
scored
either.
60.
I didn't like
but the
it either.
people are telling me he's an all-star now. Even in my world, Mr. That ain't it. And Clay making jumpers in New York, where I love it. You're working out, but are we really doing this? And I got Styles tomorrow. I got something for him. He's on the train of
Lord.
put Clay in the All-Star game for hitting some jumper. Like, can we slow it down?
Yes,
turn it into Steiny, man.
Hold on. If we're going to overreact to 49ers practice, why can't we overreact to Warriors practice?
It's just wow.
But yeah, like
man.
I think people sometimes don't know how good these guys are.
And
if you put any of them up against Bob from the AM/PM, he's going to dunk on his
look
ass.
At the other guys, who are they?
Like Clay is in a T-shirt with some dude in shorts guarding him. He's going to make the shot.
He's got to go to work.
He's Clay Thompson.
Yeah.
Of course, he can make shots. He's Clay. He's a future Hall of Fame shooter.
The big takeaway.
What the hell are we doing?
The big takeaway for me on the Kuminga video and my reaction to it
is he's not 7'3"? I was told he was 7. Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
My reaction to it was because, of course, he did. Right? Of course, he did. But the other part of it for me was, if you watch the highlights of it, he was doing exactly what he wants to do in NBA games,
no doubt,
and exactly what the Warriors.
Tell him not to do
Could
it.
care less about.
No doubt,
He's out there playing the 2 or playing the 3s.
Right.
Looking like Kobe in his prime.
Yeah, that ain't going to help you when it's the real time.
That doesn't help you at all.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and before I let you go to your show, I believe you have something to plug right here, correct?
I can tell you that we're sponsored by AC Transit. But nothing to plug. Other than I think Mooch is coming on the show with us today. I'll tell you that.
Man, looks like my boy Mike Irvin.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Yeah, Mooch at
Well,
315.
there you
Looks like Mike Irvin is done.
Thank you for
at the network.
What's that?
It looks like he might not be coming back for football. I miss my guy.
I do too.
You really
I
do
do
see
too.
it.
Yeah.
Appreciate you, Goose.
All right,
Thank
enjoy
you.
yourself, baby.
Thank you, guys.
Oh my God,
Love you guys.
Evan. Oh my
I'll see you in
God.
10 days.
I want pictures of croissants every day. That's France, but anyway.
Willard Dibs coming up next. JD in for Dibs on 95.7 The Game.